All right, my friends, welcome back to the RPG Backlog. We are on episode 2 of Final Fantasy III, and my podcast mates, Travis and Tom, are here, and they both just finished the section about 5 minutes ago, so it's top of mind for them. We are doing sections 10, 11, and 12 of Final Fantasy III. That is Flooded World, Wrecked Ship, Cave of Tides, Amur, Golden Manor, Saronia, and the Dragoons. I'm going to just hand it over to you two because you are fresh here. So let's. What do you think?
I'm going to start off by saying I don't know what it is about this Final Fantasy, but this seems to be the one that we're all the most off on our schedules and getting it done.
Yeah.
Like we're supposed to. Like literally the first two of these, the first podcast, we ended up like, oh, keep canceling, and then we ended up doing 9 sections. The second one, Tom and I are like, oh yeah, well, okay. Tom had reasons why he couldn't do it. I was just a moron and forgot to do it. So,
despite me writing in Discord, I got this far. I did this.
Yeah. You're like literally giving us updates like, oh, hey, I did this. I've done this. I'm like, yep. Okay. And then no, just nothing.
I'm really bad about keeping the Discord up for whatever reason. I think my computer restarts once a week and I don't have Discord set to like come back. And this is sort of the only thing I'm in here for. And I was sat down and I was like, man, after all that I went through to drive back to work and get the Switch and all cram it in. And I was like, if there's a message where somebody's like, 4 days ago, it's like, actually, I can't make it on Monday. I'm going to do yes.
Oh my God, that'd been so funny.
I might do that one of these times just to test to see what he does.
Oh my God, that would have been just classic. Like, we canceled it tonight, Tom. You didn't have to break your neck.
Oh my God. Okay. My overall thoughts on the game so far is it's still fun, but my gosh, is the story convenient as all get out.
This feels like this very much as I'm playing this game feels, and I don't know what it is about this one, because you could certainly levy this criticism at the two that came before it kind of thing, but I just feel like none of this stuff has anything to do with anything else. Like we got off the floating continent, right? That's where this begins, right? The flooded world and all that stuff. And like, there's no, and I don't know what I expect, or maybe there is and I missed it or don't remember, but like no one was like, holy shit, we were on a floating continent. Wasn't that crazy, guys? Like they all knew this?
It just all roll. They're just rolling with it.
Just rolling with it. And then you get down there and it's like, oh, the whole world is an ocean for a minute.
It's all flooded. Yep.
And
then all of a sudden it's not.
Yeah.
And it's not. And there's all these people there
who were stoned, and all of a sudden they're alive. And they're like, they're just going about their busy day telling you really random shit about faraway places.
Yeah.
That they seem to, like, I'm assuming the world froze at that point in time and the things are still the way it was, but they still know exactly where you need to go to solve all this.
Since the earthquake? Since the bad stuff started happening?
Well, okay, the world was flooded. Now it's not flooded, and the kingdom is at war. Was it right at war before it got flooded?
Or in the last 5 minutes.
Or the last, like, what is your gauge? Again, everything in this is just so convenient, and it's even with like the people that you pick up along the way. You see a random girl in a ship who's sick. Let's give her a potion. I have to go with you. I'm half dying. Yeah, sure. Come with me. That's cool.
You'll
I can
never
protect
guess
you.
what my magic power is.
Yeah.
I control the damn ocean.
Okay, we go to this other random place. Hey, there's this dude that everyone says he thinks he's the prince, and we just think he's not. Ha ha ha! Let's make fun of him. No, let's save him and believe him at a face value that he is I mean, granted, he turned out to be the prince, of course, because that's just convenient. This story is so cookie cutter. Like I feel. Do you remember how, like in the last one, Larry, we were saying like this could be a great remake. There's so much here in the story that could be fleshed out. This would be amazing. This feels the exact opposite. Like the story just feels so devoid, but the world is intriguing. The story is just meh.
You know what it feels like? I agree with everything you all are saying. It feels so piecemeal you know how they were working on Final Fantasy IV for the SNES, and this was kind of almost an afterthought. Maybe they were pulling people from the team to work on the new thing, and then they kept cycling different parts of the team out, and they're like, okay, just go make a section of this game. What else is in the game? Well, it doesn't matter. Just make a section that you think might be cool.
We have
and
to
it's
dig in to figure out the timetable, because I thought that was in reference to the port, and that's why it didn't get ported. Like
it was because of the port, but my thought at least is, and who the fuck knows, is because of everything that was going on getting ready for the SNES, that even the development of this game was maybe distracted in some way because they were also working on the other one. I don't know, because everything feels like you said, the story just feels. We're saying a thing happens, so it happens. We need a prince here. He's the prince. Like whatever happens, like this girl you pick up and she helps you make an earthquake in the ocean and drain the ocean or whatever. But it's so disconnected. Everything feels so disconnected.
And I think a gentler word for that would be like episodic, right?
Yeah, right. It's an anthology almost inside of 3.
Yeah, but that's kind of that would make sense for. It doesn't work here, right? That makes sense for like a non-linear game where you could go anywhere and do anything, and there's these little micro arcs that, if you write them clever enough, maybe sort of play off each other and form some meta narrative. But this is like on the rails linear. You have to pretty much go and do this stuff to advance the story, and it really just feels like you bounce from place to place and you roll in and you say, I'm here, what's happening? Oh, this is happening, okay, I will fix it, and then I'll go on to the next place. And I'm really struggling with this because I say that out loud, and it's like, yeah, that was kind of the vibe of the other ones too, but maybe not even. Like, which one was the one?
There's more connective tissue,
like the dragon's egg and stuff. Was that
that was 2?
Yeah. That was 2.
Like that was not this, right? It was Chekhov's dragon egg in the first act, and you expected it to go off in the third act, and it did, and that was satisfying. And this feels something. Another part of it too is, and I didn't give this the time it probably deserved today, so I was just like skating by on whatever I could sort of deal. But like, the fact that you can, and it's still pretty easy. Like I think I advanced like 5 levels from last time or something. I was at 20 something. Now I'm at 25 or so, which is still not where I think I'm not to where you guys were at the end of the last section.
Right.
And I'm still making my way through. It's so, I don't know. The other games were harder, and I feel like I had to work harder at them. And for some reason, that made me appreciate the story more, and I don't quite know why.
I wonder if they spent all their time on the job system, because it is pretty intricate how every job has really different stuff you can do. Like the Dragoons has the jump, and the fucking monk, or I think it's the monk, has like the boost and then the kick.
The black belt.
Black belt.
Oh, black belt. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I don't know, because I feel it is very disconnected. I feel like it is. Shallow, maybe is the right term here. The connective.
Yeah.
It's episodic, piecemealed. It's the story is bland. It is very cookie cutter, but without there is no real direction yet again. Like I keep talking about the balance, but there is, maybe this is part of the problem. There is no bad, right? Like there's just we've been told that darkness is coming, and we keep getting into random fights, and we keep getting into random bosses that are stopping us, but we don't know why. We don't know who. We don't know anything. And everything else just feels so perfectly in alignment to move you along from step to step to step. And your character at no point in time question anything. Like they are the most cookie cutter hero you could possibly imagine.
And right. Just the warriors of light, right? And that the darkness is just is the big bad. That's it, you know.
Right, but what is it? Like, there is
of this. Is there a bad one?
Just put a pin in this in your mind for our final episode, because I know who the final boss is, and if you guys don't know, coming back to the last 1 minute of this conversation is going to be interesting.
Okay.
In a way that's going to seal the deal, I think, on how we feel about this game.
All right. So if we're not supposed to pull at that thread for the moment, then
you can. You're welcome to, but you're being very prescient. You know, like you have summarized. I think what you're going to say at the end of this game, based upon what I know happens at the end.
Yeah, I don't know. Like the job system is awesome.
I like it. Yeah, I think it's neat.
But beyond that, it's so our characters I think that's the thing, right? Even in the last one, the one character that I'm going to call him Mongo because I don't know what else to call him. But the second I say it, you know exactly who I'm talking about.
The guy who talked to animals.
Yeah, the characters each had a personality.
Yeah, right.
There was something there.
These are all interchangeable. They have nothing.
Yeah, these are blank slates that have no person. None of them have a person. Not even you as a character have no personality. And that's the problem, right? Whereas I think with the previous ones, the character, even if you were predetermined who you were playing, which was fine, there was some level of uniqueness to each person. Whereas here, every character is pretty much the same. Like, tell me what the difference is between the king and that dies in this one and the princess or the priestess that we found in the ship.
Nothing. They're a MacGuffin to get you moving forward.
Right. And that's the problem. The entire world feels shallow because every NPC you run into is same.
They stroll into the plot to serve their purpose, and then they're done, right? It's not like we had this king who went crazy, right, and made his armies fight each other. That's the one you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not like we ran into him earlier and he seemed like a chill dude, and then you come back later and it's like, what's going on here? This is nuts. It's like you stumble into this situation. It's like, I guess this is bad. Everyone's telling me this is very bad and not normal, but I've never been here before, so how would I know?
Right. And then, like, if you think of the last one, right, there Sid had a personality, the princess had a personality, the prince had every one of those characters had a difference to them. And you had some tie to them that made you want to continue that story. Yeah. Here, there's literally nothing. There is no connective tissue between one thing to the next. You just move on to the next because I'm the warrior of light, and that's what I'm supposed to do.
They don't even motivate the characters themselves. Like, why are they doing this? Like, no one's in danger, their hometown isn't threatened, their childhood friends haven't been kidnapped. It's just like, things kind of suck out there. You guys should go help out.
Well, and they just appeared out of nowhere to perform that task, right?
Yes.
Although I will say, as an analog, I think the best part of the game so far is just those 4 fucking doofuses who are like, we're the warriors of light. We're going to fucking complete this task.
Those dudes are off.
Some personality.
Them. Yes, exactly.
The only ones you remember.
Yep, that's right.
And unfortunately, they're just the fellows. That's all they are.
Yep.
Their sprites are all identical, and they have the same dialogue.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, I think there's a reason why whenever anyone's talking about, classic Final Fantasies, when they get to 3, other than the fact it was buried in time, this is the first time it's come west or whatever, it's just about the job system. Everything else falls away. The only thing that is pulled forward in time from this game seems to be the job system and a little bit of the summons. In this section, we pick up summons finally.
Well, so I want to talk about this for a second, and specifically the job system, because I have found, I think it's neat that there are so many different choices, but I feel like I am not incentivized to experiment with them.
Oh, hell no.
For example, I have my knight, my black belt. I advanced those 2 guys. And then because I read it in a guide somewhere, the black mage and the white mage, they're just sitting pat until they get whatever there's something later, I think, on the next crystal. Yeah.
Vowed or whatever.
So I'm not doing anything. So I haven't been tinkering with this because every time I do, I suck. For example, in that golden mansion, there were all those locked doors. So I thought, I'm gonna turn one of my dudes I'm gonna turn my black belt into a thief.
Hell yeah.
And it's gonna open all these doors for me. And this is super cool. And now all of a sudden the random encounters, I was kind of relying on my black belt to be dropping 700 to 800 damage on a pop, and this thief can't even clear 100 with whatever thief junk I had to, you know what I mean? Whatever.
Yeah, exactly. You weren't prepared.
So it's like, why would I do this? Now all of a sudden I'm getting my ass kicked by trash mobs in the Trump Palace, and it's just like,
wow. I can't even.
Why? Sorry about that.
But you get golden swords, Tom. Come on, you get it. You get like 16 golden swords.
Underwrite buying a bunch of magic, which I am underleveled and can't use. So,
which, by the way, those golden swords were completely effing worthless. Besides selling,
that's the whole point of them. And I was like, I'm already 4xing my gil. I don't need these things. Thanks. Oh my god.
But like that was a perfect example of it's like, oh, okay, well, I'm gonna dip my toe in and I'm gonna play with these jobs. And it's like, oh, nope, I don't want to do that. So I had to change him back, right? Like, the other thing is, so it's super heavily telegraphed that you need to use the Dragoons for, Garuda or whoever.
Garuda, yeah.
Like 6 sets of their armor and weapons and junk.
Yeah, exactly.
By the time I got there, and almost willfully, I was like, "Well, I'm not changing my jobs. That screwed me over."
How long did that fight fucking take?
How good can these Dragoons be, right? And
they're good. They're pretty good.
I found that out. So I got killed the first time I tried it, and I put up a decent fight. But what I noticed was that my white mage, who has that one arrow spell of offensive magic, which is and it's good for flying enemies. So it's like, oh, this thing's like a bird. Let me do that. And it did more than any of my other characters did. It dropped like 600 or something. I was like, oh, this is great. Okay. And it's like, so my other guys are doing that, but that lightning attack slowly wears everybody down, and then they all died, which was weird to me because sometimes it would hit for like 180, and then sometimes it would hit for like 450, and I couldn't tell the difference on the same character in the same position in the formation and all that, which I thought was kind of weird.
So I had a very different experience with that boss because one of the guys flat tells you that, hey, Dragoons work really well on this character. Like literally, I think it was in the southwest part of that.
He says it would almost be impossible for anyone but a Dragoon to defeat this monster or something like that.
But I'm sitting there thinking, because here, full transparency, I have pretty much avoided the interacting with the class system for the most part too. I have a knight, a white mage, a black mage, and I bumped my monk to a black belt. And I'm just like, you know what, F off.
Classic party.
After the scholar debacle where I was like, holy crap, I started over, and I'm just like, no, screw this noise. So I literally saved my game, went into the castle. I'm like, all right, how hard is this going to be? I don't know what level you're at the time. I'm in the 30s, I think. I know it was 32 last time.
I'm like 6 or 7 behind. Yeah.
I wiped the floor with that fool without a single dragoon.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Oh, dude. Blizzaga did like over 1k damage. Arrow did like 1400. The monk, my black belt, I boosted him once, then attacked, and he did like 1400.
Damn.
And then the next round again is like another Blizzaga for like 1100, and then another like 1200 from the black belt, and boom, done.
Yeah. Game over. I could tell when I was playing, it was like, well, I'm in this. Like, it wasn't like I got flattened in 2 rounds or something like that. It's like I was having to do some curing and stuff like that, but it wasn't impossible, and we were hitting for many, many hundreds every round. So I think I was probably close to eking it out. Now, obviously, right, the punchline to this is you switch to the Dragoons, and they jump up, and then they can't be hit by the lightning. And then when they come down, those dudes were hitting for like 2k. Does that sound about right, Larry?
So when I was doing the Dragoons, when the 4 would go into the air, the first one would hit with lightning, and it did about 1,400, and then the rest hit for like 7 or 6 or 5 kind of thing.
100?
Yeah, 100. Yeah, so the first one would hit for like 1,500, and it was lightning damage, and then the rest would come down in the single hundreds. 5, 6, 7.
Did you have a Thunder Spear? if on one of them.
It was. I assume it was. I thought it was the wind spear. Maybe there was a thunder
so
spear.
it should have been the wind spear.
The expensive ones you had to buy. The thunder spears are the ones I think you find in chests.
Yeah, I didn't buy any. I just used the ones that I found.
Okay.
You find one wind spear. Or you can find at least one wind spear.
I basically I did the optimal, and then it gave like the first two like both spears, and the rest of them it gave them like 2 shields. I was like, what the fuck? So I gave them all 1 shield and all 1 spear. I was like, okay, let's just do it that way. So yeah, you must be right that it was the first one. I thought it was because they all jumped together, but it was the top one on my order had the wind spear or whatever.
Spear probably,
yeah.
But anyway, so like touche. That's kind of neat. But now I'm wondering, and I just change it back because it's like there's no way that's like a cheat code, right? Are they just that good the rest of the game where they disappear and then they come in and do crazy damage? I think that particular boss, obviously we found with the arrow spell, had a weakness to like wind-based things, which I think the jump probably counts as.
Right.
But like, what's the catch, right? Why not just roll with 4 Dragoons all the time?
Well, I don't know how it's going to be in this game, and I haven't played with the Dragoons to find out. But in other Final Fantasy games, it's like a live or die by what they do. And what I mean by that is, if you have the right mob that you're going against, they do insane damage. If it's not, they tickle the enemy, essentially.
Yeah.
I'm going to assume that's going to be the same here. The advantage that you always had with Dragoons is the fact that they do exactly what you saw. They jump off the screen, and during that time period, they're immune to anything going on.
Yeah.
Which is awesome because, it limits the amount of damage they can take. I know some of them changed that to where they were like, nope, that's too OP. They can still take damage even if they're not on the screen, which was really freaking annoying. But I remember like in tactics, like they disappeared, avoid damage. And if it was the right type of mob, they were powerful. But if it was the wrong type of mob, you might as well just not even have them on the field.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because I think as we said, right, it seems like all the love and effort was put into the job system, and everything else was just like, oh crap, we've got this awesome system, we need something for them to do with it.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was to say like there's some neat ideas, but the things that you do with it in this game is kind of like, the idea that you need to mini yourself in some places, or you need to use Dragoons in other places, or the thief to open those doors. Like it's like really good at testing some ideas that turn up later in future games that are much more interestingly applied. I would think
that's I think the knock on it is that it comes off as kind of contrived, right? You needed the scholar for that one battle. You need the Dragoon for this one battle. But if you try and play with them in the rest of the game, it's like, well, they were sort of specialized for this one thing, and you to have your all-around guys instead. And that, I think what you hope and what I imagine you get from it later is that you want to engage with the system a little more organically, right?
Yes, exactly right.
That's like, okay, because what I would say is like the dream is that this is sufficiently balanced so that you can pick any 4 jobs and cobble together a working party, right? And the strategies that you employ to have success with that party might look different, but you should be able to do it, and it shouldn't like break your back to make it work. And here, I don't feel like if you were rolling with 4 scholars, I don't think it would work out for you.
Well, and that's like in contrast to Final Fantasy 1, where people do like, red mage parties or white mage parties or black mage parties and just have fun kind of mixing and matching. There was personality to those choices. Here it's just like, I'm not going to do 4 scholars. I like books, not that much.
Not that much.
I think that's the big difference, right? They're literally like, here's lock, here's the specific key to open this lock. Sweet. New lock. Hey, that old key that you just used, 0 chance of it functioning now.
Yes, and that's kind of frustrating, because if you spend time investing in some of these other kind of weirder jobs, you might just get caught, and it's like, nope, that was the wrong thing here. And I guess you can just change them at will, but there is some kind of cooldown period, I think, for when you change them.
There is, I think, because I switched to I had my thief going on for the doors, right? And I wanted to switch back to my white mage because I didn't have a white mage. And then when you do that, your mage has no magic.
Yeah, well, that just sucks. Yes.
Yeah. I don't think it's so much I don't know, because I would imagine it's not a cooldown, but it would be one of those things where if you switch from something that had no magic to something that has magic, you have to rest before you get that magic power back.
Yeah, that's right.
That is true. But I thought that there was even some further, like, if you were doing, you went from a white mage to a black mage sort of thing, your effectiveness with black magic, once you have recently switched to black mage, like, takes a hit. And I should do some more reading. That's my intuition as I've tinkered with it a little bit. I need to read and see, and I feel like I read that somewhere, but it also might be apocryphal. So,
well, overall, I think we are all feeling the same way on this game so far, and I kind of like how we did the first 9 sections all in one go, which leads me to my next question. Some of the stuff that we're talking about here, the disjointedness a little bit, perhaps. I don't know if you've read ahead in the guide at all. But if you haven't, the next couple of sections, section 13 and 15 specifically, feature a lot of optional content. Optional dungeons, optional things to do. So
15 literally says optional events with the invincible. So that means everything in 15 is not required, I'm assuming.
Yeah, and then 13 as well has a bunch of optional events. So we can do the rest of the game in a couple of ways. We could try to do all the optional content and then kind of break it up into 2 more sections, or we can just do the rest of the game and I don't know, skip some of the optional content. I don't know what we're feeling.
Let's see. I'm just gonna spoil it right now and see what. Go to the bottom. There's an optional dungeon. They don't even say what you get on the first one. You can get Odin in the second one, and then you can buy rank 7 magic here. Yep. And I can't even use the rank 5 magic I just bought, so that's not super interesting to me right now. And then there's some plot stuff, and then you fight. All right, Bahamut, you can go back there. There's some cave with some chests, and this is kind of.
It's a minimal walkthrough, so there's more to it, perhaps. But I guess I just want to get a feel for: do we want to run through the optional stuff based on how we're feeling about the game?
One of the optional dungeons, according to this, isn't even in our version of it.
Oh,
in section 15, optional dungeon, lake door, you can do blah 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 blah. Find a thin patch of land. Click the action button. While this dungeon is a one-time only,
in
the NES version of it is not in the Pixel remaster.
But what it's saying is it's not one time.
Not one time only.
Yeah,
it's not missable.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, so it's not okay. So maybe it is still there.
It is still there. Yeah, this guy cares about missable things.
Very much so. Almost to the whole area.
You'd be proud of me. I didn't go and farm the mobs that were missable in this section.
You're just like, I'm done with this. Fuck it.
No, I didn't have time. Otherwise, I would.
Oh, that's right. That's right. You would have otherwise. Yes, exactly.
I am down to do all the optional stuff just because, to me, even though the story is underwhelming, I still enjoy the actual act of playing the game.
Okay.
Then why don't that is just me. So, and I am one third of this. So,
Tom, what do you think?
My only concern is that, I don't know. The dungeons have just not been much of a such in this game, right? Like what it's a dungeon. It's like, okay, I could probably clear this with like less than 10 random encounters if I look at the damn map, and it's not a big deal. I'm worried that every one of these optional things, if that constitutes, an hour and a half worth of content, it's sort of a different scenario. But I would say let's maybe have some faith in the guide and just take the next 3 sections and see how it goes.
Yeah, sounds good.
With the understanding that it's optional, and so if you don't get to some of it, maybe it doesn't matter.
That's a good point. Let's do it that way, because if I do something you don't do, or vice versa, then we have we can share it in the next podcast. So that means for the listeners, there should be 2 more episodes if we fucking do this right. This 13 is Doga's Manor and optional events. 14 is Temple of Time, Une's Shrine, who I ran across accidentally, and the Ancient Ruins. And then section 15 is optional events with the Invincible, whatever that means. And then we'll move into the final section after that.
Cool.
Yeah. Anything else for the good of this podcast?
No, I'm pretty. Actually, let me check my notes. I think we've gone over everything though, because most of my complaints are already kind of. Oh no! There is one thing. I saw this note immediately. I was like, oh my god. But this kind of ties into what we've been saying before with everything else. The convenience on how easy they take away the damn aerial ship. Every freaking time we get it is getting on my effing nerves, man.
Yeah, man.
We get it. Crush a rock. Oh, it's gone. I don't remember how to make it.
Right, we couldn't possibly find that material again in the world anywhere.
Right. Oh, I made it, but I don't remember how to make it land on ground anymore, motherfucker. We get it. Oh, it's now chained for some random ass reason that nobody ever answers or asks why their ship is chained.
Well, the boss did. The dude did.
Yeah, but no one ever said it. You just happened to do it when you killed him and the key dropped.
No, someone said it. Someone said it early.
I totally missed that.
Some of the town, you had to talk to a bunch of the townspeople, and
it's like, oh, they locked your thing. They have the key. I was like, what the fuck? Why? Okay.
And then it's like, oh, fly your ship over here, and it gets shot down.
Yep.
I'm assuming we're going to get it back because obviously we have the ability to go back to the floating like continent shit. So it's it just goes back to what we were saying before, where everything's just so perfectly like laid out to happen that it's just
Perhaps one more. My favorite scene in this. We talked about the 4 dudes who thought they were the legendary heroes.
Yeah.
Or the Warriors of Light or whatever.
The fellows.
The fellows. The end of that, where you find like a witch-looking lady who throws shoes at you.
Yep.
Special bog shoes.
Those aren't the real shoes. Hold on.
There's another pair of shoes? Like, what's going on?
Oh my god, it's so weird.
What was going to happen with the first shoes when she threw them? Like, why were they like...
It was like a bomb or something, I thought.
And the other dudes were like, no, don't give them the bad shoes. These guys are cool. It's, oh, okay, here, let me get you the good bog lady shoe.
Yeah. Anyways, okay. The point is, anyone who's listening to this, the gameplay is fun so far. The story, jank.
Okay.
Yeah,
I got one more. I think I made like a prediction at the end of the last episode. I can't remember what it is. And so I'll maybe have to go back and listen to it. But I have another prediction for the end of this episode, which is that I've been finding in a couple of places in the dialogue, they have referenced the fact that there was a time when like the light grew too bright and 4 warriors of darkness came forth. Did you guys catch this dialogue?
No, I don't think I did.
I did.
Oh, yeah. And so you talk to some people and they're like, now the opposite is happening. But back then, the warriors of dark came and they like subdued the light, and you have to have it in balance and blah, blah, blah. So this is my armchair prediction for the end of the game, is that maybe you fight the darkness warriors or something like that. That would be kind of cool, which means this game probably won't do anything with it. But I thought it was a neat idea.
What if you are the darkness warriors? We're the bad guys the whole time.
But that's the weird thing, because I thought that, not that exact thing, but Warriors of Darkness sounds bad, right? But they were talking about like this was a necessary thing. Like the light was like blinding. Like people couldn't, it was a bad thing. There was too much light in the world. And the Darkness Warriors had to come and like tamp it down so that the balance was restored. Now there's too much darkness. Hence we are the Warriors of Light to try and bring more light back. It's weird. I don't understand the meta myth of this world.
Okay, so that means we're literally fighting the darkness.
Oh,
Damn.
yeah, dude.
So, oh my god, this makes me think of that stupid recording where it's like, I attack the darkness.
Well, I mean,
You know, the D&D recording from like it's like 20 years old at this point.
try not to read section 18.
I haven't read it. I haven't looked at it, but I'm like all of a sudden that whole recording of them like, are there any girls in the bar? Oh my god.
Yeah, man.
So I'm gonna try and stab the darkness. That's what's going on. Okay.
Yeah, pretty much.
Holy crap. I'm not even reading it. My brain. That's already where my brain's going. Oh, come on,
You
man.
said it earlier, man. I was like, man, have you played this game?
No, Jesus.
Oh man.
Yeah, my brain just kind of locked it all in together, and now I'm tempted to go read section 18.
18, yeah.
I'm going to stay away from it, but I'm 90% sure that we are literally stabbing the darkness. And that this is a problem, man. And if in a story you can't just have this hypothetical, like, yeah, come on, you got to have.
You got to work a little bit harder for it.
Yeah, you got to have something to actually focus on, not just the theoretical. Oh, hey, it's darker, so you need to actually make it lighter. Turn on light a candle, fool. Jesus. Okay, I'm done.
I'm just gonna just planting a flag that I'm going to love our final episode of this arc.
Oh god, because you're just like waiting for my armchair rant. Like, holy crap, what the?
I can't wait. All right, so we will see you next week with the sections we just talked about, all the optional shit. That will be our penultimate episode. But thanks for being here. If you like us, please rate us on your podcast service of choice, and we'll see you next week.
Peace.